Hello, Braves coaches. Coach Ken Anderson coming to week three edition of the MLB trade deadline. Got the whole gang here tonight. They're all in. Andrew's back from his gallivanting in Ohio. So we'll go around left to right. Start with Aaron. How you doing tonight, Aaron?
I am feeling great, Ken. Coming off of a series win, feeling hopeful and ready for the All-Star break and everything that's to come after it, and especially the draft.
How about you, Andrew?
We're doing good. Feeling pretty good after a nice series win. Good to be back here on the third episode of the Trade Pod.
I'm excited, but I'm telling you what, there's nobody more excited tonight after the news come out today than the guy, my cohort, that runs the recaps with me. And Ryan, you a little pumped tonight?
I'm always pumped, baby. I mean, anytime Seegey's mentioning possible trade discussions, yeah, give me Corey Seager, man. I give up the farm. Not really. I wouldn't give up the farm for him, but almost. I love Corey Seager. I know y'all are gonna be like, he's been hurt. His numbers are bad. He's Corey effing Seager. That dude is a top 5% player in probably the history of Major League Baseball. At least hitter. He is freaking ridiculous. That dude fixed so many problems for the Atlanta Braves, Ken.
I guess he is. He's a pretty good player. It is one jersey that I do own. I own a Corey Seager Dodgers jersey. He's one of my favorite players in baseball. So, because the Dodgers were a Lookouts farm team for a little bit here in Chattanooga. So that's how I got to run into Corey. And he's been one of our favorites. So, any trades this week? Zero. Zero. Nobody. Nobody's trading. I mean, minor league. We couldn't get any trades. So let's go right to the rumors. And I told Aaron and Ryan, I don't think I had a chance to talk to Drew yet. You're going to get a lot of this the next 3 days. They got to get a lot of stuff out because All Star break drains the coverage from the trade because nothing's going to happen. Everybody knows that. They'll be fixated on Philadelphia, which they should be. It's All Star week. Should fix on that. So they're pumping all the rumors. We're going to tackle them one at a time. And we're going to start with Mr. Sonny Gray. So Mr. Sonny Gray is with the Red Sox. Here's what's happening with the Red Sox, and we'll start with you, Aaron. We've already said we wouldn't mind him being in Atlanta. He wants to be in Atlanta. There's a lot of stuff going with Sonny. The Red Sox are playing better, and they're getting themselves back into the race. What they decide to do, we don't know. Ryan's going to have a big time comment on that when we get going at the end. I liked his tweet today. It's definitely true about that organization. But Aaron, here's the problem. He makes a lot of money. He does have an opt out. There's an option in it. If he does, he still gets 10 million. So the Braves could be on hook for a lot of money. What do you take of the Sonny Gray? A lot of times, if there's smoke, there's fire. What do you take with Sonny Gray rumors are getting hotter and hotter to Atlanta?
Sonny Gray rumors are a mixed bag for me because we see them almost every offseason and trade deadline as of late. And, it just always feels like it's just the Braves will be a good fit for him kind of thing. But realistically, with the market the way it is, we don't even know if Boston is going to decide to become sellers at this point. So if he does become available, I think we need to look into it and see what we can do and see if there's some kind of way that we can work that contract around more in our favor and, consider what prospect capital we'd be giving up. But to me, like if I'm the Red Sox, the AL is not guaranteed. Like it's the wild card over there is up for grabs. So you don't really know what's going on. Why not take advantage of what you have in major league player capital and go ahead and go out and grab some prospects, some very promising prospects to revamp you and put you in a better position for next season. Why are you holding on to a what if? Because for the majority of these AL teams, it's a what if. So I would love to have Sonny Gray on the Braves. I think he'd be a great number two behind Chris Sale. But it's all, there's a lot of moving parts, and we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll get to Ryan about one of the things that would come out today with AJ Pierzynski said. So let's get to Andrew first. Sonny Gray to the Braves. I know you probably get hit all the time on Atlanta highlights about Sonny. Aaron's right. He gets mentioned all the time, and he is a perfect fit for the Braves. But that doesn't mean he's coming here, Andrew. What are your thoughts on Mr. Sonny Gray?
He is a perfect fit. I think that's about the fourth time we've just said that, but he's a great fit. But the money's could be a problem, especially if he opts out. You know, the Braves could be on the hook for that $10 million. Um, I think he'd be a great fit, but with the Red Sox now 14-5 out of their last 19 games, what do they do? I mean, they have enough talent to make a run. I just don't know if with Wilson Contreras at the head, do they really have enough capital and team flexibility and a great enough clubhouse to just go ahead and go on a run like that just because he's not the greatest in the clubhouse. I mean, look at the St. Louis Cardinals. They got rid of him. They're a good team again. But I think Sonny Gray's got a he would be a great fit here, but I just don't know. It's been 5 years in a row in the offseason where we said Sonny Gray's linked to the Braves. Sonny Gray's linked to the Braves. He'd be a great fit. Well,
It,
maybe
it's
make
been
it come
so
to life.
it's been so much as four teams, Andrew. Four teams have been trading Sonny Gray to the Braves, Ryan. All right, so Ryan, here's the question. I seen your tweet today. It's definitely true. How much do you really want to make the playoffs in the American League anyhow? Because you're pretty much going to probably get waxed unless you're the New York Yankees and Aaron Judge comes back. Maybe Toronto, Tampa can they're pitched their way. But I feel like the National League's going to win the World Series, whoever it is. So do you just want to make the wild card? And like you said, I'll let you do your tweet about their ownership and stuff out there, Ryan. But what are your thoughts on Sonny Gray?
I like Sonny Gray. His first, I want to talk about the Red Sox just in general. Like they're 43 and 48, as you guys can see right here. They do have a plus 18 run differential, which I was thoroughly surprised about. So their expected win loss looks like they should be in the AL playoff race at this moment. But on the same point in time, when you look at this lineup that they rolled out the other day, they have one, two, three, four guys over a 750 OPS, and one of them has been in the big leagues for 60 at bats. So I don't know how much stock you want to put into that OPS. So I don't think they have the lineup depth, number one. Crochet, I don't know if he's even back right now. Ramon Anthony's not back, and I just read a report that came out 3 hours ago from Sports Illustrated that said that he is still a long ways away, but he's recovering well, and he's on track for the type of injury that he had. So they're not getting him back anytime soon, and that's their best bat in the lineup. So, I mean, yeah, the American League's bad, but at the same point in time, do you want to really waste time, like potential prospects that you could get for Sonny Gray, that you could get out of Garrett Whitlock, that you could get out of Aroldis Chapman, that you might get out of Jaron Duran if you decide to trade him? Like those are four players that a team would trade for to get prospects on, and your goal is to make a wild card spot in a dog crap American League that ain't going nowhere this year. I don't know. I just don't see it. But to point to Sonny Gray here, let's look at his Savant page chat. I like Sonny Gray. His Savant page isn't all red and pretty, but this is kind of what Sonny Gray has been for his career. He's got a six-pitch repertoire. He knows how to locate. He knows how to work batters. He knows what pitches to throw and what counts because of what the batter is doing. He knows how to read swings. He would play very well in Atlanta. I do believe he would set up perfectly as a number two. Do I want to pay him $30 million next year? I don't know about that, but that's the going rate for a number two starting pitcher at, unfortunately, this day and age. So depending on prospects that they would want back, I would definitely be interested in Sonny Gray, and I'm sure the Braves would be very interested as well. It just depends if their joke of a GM would actually consider it, Ken.
Yeah, that was his tweet. They're a messed up organization. I don't know what they would get out of it. I'm gonna go to Erin. This is where I'm at. I'm with Erin. Me and her think a lot alike. I don't know why you'd want to make the playoffs when you can trade those guys. And this American League is terrible. They're not going to get any better next year. So position yourself to be good next year is the way I would say. So we'll see. I'd love to have Sonny Gray. We'll see. This one should go a lot faster, guys. I don't know who in the world wanted to put it out. I can't remember who gave the source, but Freddie Peralta is not coming to the Braves. But I'll get your thoughts on Freddie Peralta, Aaron. It come out Freddie Peralta, good fit for the Braves. It is not. But Aaron, go ahead.
No, He is not a good fit for the Braves. He has been terrible this year. He's not proving that he is worth the 6, 7, 8, whatever ridiculous contract length that he is aspiring towards. And I mean, I don't know the guy, but to me, the vibes do not fit the Atlanta clubhouse vibes. He is 100% perfect in the Mets clubhouse, which is chaos and drama and like a reality show. So let him stay there. I don't want him. I don't want any part of him.
I don't want any part of Freddie Peralta either, Andrew. Andrew, I think this is a false report. I don't know what team they're trying to draw in. Maybe the Phillies. I don't know who it is, Andrew. But Freddie Peralta's not coming here, is he?
No. No, it was. I think it was Jeff Passan that put that out.
Oh, okay.
I
We
mean,
know.
Jeff, you're better than that, Jeff. Freddie Peralta's not coming here. First of all, the New York Mets wouldn't trade him to us anyway to start off. But two, he's like Erin said, he's not great in the clubhouse. I'm not giving him a 6, 7, 8 year deal. He's been cheeks this year. Yeah, he did have one good start against us, but we're not. But he's not coming here. That's just not happening. And Jeff, if you ever listen to this podcast, that was terrible.
Yeah, there's no way, Joe. And I didn't realize it was passing, or I wouldn't even took it seriously at all, Ryan. But let's go ahead and look at for other teams. This is not a number 2 starter in the playoffs, Ryan.
This isn't a number 4 starter in the playoffs. What are we talking about? Number 2? He's terrible. He's awful. Look, if y'all want to go back and look at Freddie Peralta's playoff history, just go back and look with the Milwaukee Brewers. This dude has not done well in the postseason at all. So anybody who, and all the insiders are going to pump up the guy because I'm pretty sure they're getting back pocket picked for with the agents because that's how the agents play the game. But at the same point in time, like, he just never lined up. His stuff doesn't line up. I know what all the stats say on TJ stats and all this, a little bit above average. Me looking at this as a hitter, he doesn't have great stuff. He doesn't have stuff that's going to blow you away on any given day. His fastball's average, his slider's average, his changeup's average, his curveball's average, and he doesn't use his other off-speed pitches enough, and he gets hammered on the fastball because his fastball is mediocre in the big leagues right now. So I don't want that pitching for my team. I didn't want him back when he was in Milwaukee. Ken can attest to that. I was against Freddie Peralta then. I'm against him now. I'll be against him forever and ever. Amen. And if I'm against him, I know Alex Anthopoulos is probably against him. So Jeff Passan, I know you get paid by their agents. I understand it, but when they try to make ridiculous claims like this, you gotta rain check it every once in a while about the money there, little guy. I know. I'm sorry, but this was a horrible informed article about who the Braves should go get. Terrible.
Yeah, and I'm not sure Freddie can get traded to anybody the way he's pitching. So we'll see. All right, let's go to teams that rumors come out in, and one of them they're right about. Aaron's going to hate to talk about this one. So the Minnesota Twins are 7-3 in their last game. They're 46-48. They're 2 games out. And today they welcome back Bailey Ober, and he threw great today for them. I think the Twins are moving into being probably middle of the road. They probably won't buy or sell, maybe some small piece for the bullpen. I think the Twins are coming out of the seller's mode. How about you?
Well, I recently read an article from one of the Twins beat writers who said that because I subscribe to the Twins and the Braves and a couple of other teams that come to my email. So I read his article and he had a good idea. He was saying that the Twins are most likely going to be one of those teams that does a little of both. They're not going to be full sellers. They're not going to be full buyers. They're going to try to, take advantage of building prospect capital for the future while also cutting payroll at the same time, but still keeping enough to make a wild card run if they want to. So I think it's very possible that they still try to move someone like Joe Ryan or the catcher Jeffers. Byron Buxton is probably not going to unless, those guys get moved or another big piece gets moved, because why would you leave him stranded on a team that's not capable of winning? I think he would request a trade at that point. But, Just have to see how it plays out. And they are 2.5, no, they're 1.5 games back, and there's 3 teams ahead of them at this point. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Now the wild cards are one game back of the Mariners who lost tonight. So
Okay.
they're the first team out. I just don't see them selling. I do think that Jeffers may go because I think Von Lackey's going to fall to 3. That's
Yeah.
the perfect replacement for Jeffers is Von Lackey, and you can get a lot for Jeffers. He's had a good year, so I do agree with you. I think Jeffers is the guy who may go, and that would not fit the Braves' need. Braves do
No.
not need a catcher. So Andrew, looks like the Twins are going to actually be, I think she's right, middle of the road. They'll try to buy, they may try to sell Jeffers and then try to get some bullpen piece, maybe even another starting pitcher. We'll get to that question in a little bit. Something happened this week. But Andrew, looks like the Byron Buxton to Atlanta dream is finally over for 2026.
Yeah, it seems to be over, and it's sad because the dream is over, but maybe the Joe Ryan dream is not over yet. We'll
No.
see. Um, I think that's something Alex will and should do. We should see. I mean, I agree with Erin on the point that their beat writer made. I think that is pretty common. It's another article I read that the Twins may try and buy some 1 or 2 bullpen arms because they need a couple bullpen arms and for their depth. And you know, we've said this before. The Chicago White Sox with their pitching, who knows how long they're able to stay in this thing. And I don't expect the White Sox to do anything at the deadline because they're not going to want to trade any of their young prospects. So as long as the division race stays where it is in the Central and the wild card kind of stays where it is, and then especially if the Twins stay in the middle, I don't really see much happening from the Twins, but maybe selling a little bit, maybe adding a couple of pieces to see if they can still make a wild card. But the Byron Buxton dream is dead officially.
Yeah, I think we're going to be off of that one. So, Ryan, what do you think about the Twins? Maybe a buyer, seller, both of them. Probably Jeffers is the one that's going to leave town, maybe.
They should be sellers, if I'm being honest with you, Ken. I know they're not going to, but I just look, the American League's just not good. Like you'll get in a wild card and you might make it to the American League Division Series, but when you face one of the top 3 teams in the American League, you're gonna get put out. I mean, they got good pitching, but their offense isn't that good. Buxton's on the IL right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how long they're gonna be able to tread water without him. I mean, that's like their dude in the lineup, and without that dude, we all know how that goes, especially since Ronald's been out for us. So I they have some pieces that they should sell. I'm not saying that they will. I'm not saying that they won't. If I was the GM, I would be definitely selling Jeffers. I'd be selling Ryan. And at that point, depending upon what you get back and how you are selling, if you're trying to reload for next year, if you want nothing but prospects, then you might look into Buxton, but that's a long shot at that point. So I would expect those two. I don't know how much control Bailey Ober has left, but that might be another option they could look at getting rid of if they can get pitching in return. So I think they should sell high on pitching for them because you could probably get a lot in return for those guys this trade deadline if you do that.
Yeah, I do too. I think that they should, but here's the thing. I've told y'all this. Sometimes it's hard for you to wrap your arms around it because you're Braves fans. The Twins fans really have no aspirations of winning a World Series, and their ownership knows that because they can't get by the Yankees most years. So making the playoffs to Twins fans is a big deal. I'll just tell you that. So it's a little different than a lot of organizations. I know you're going to roll your eyes, Ryan, because we're not used to that. We're used to that, but when you're in a team in the city they're in, that's all their sports team is. A Vikings fan, because I'm a Vikings NFL fan. Them making the playoffs is all I'm asking. I don't ask. I've never in my lifetime. I think they're going to win a Super Bowl ever in my lifetime because I've seen too many times they've hurt me. So that's just the way the Minnesota fan. They just want a winning team, make the playoffs, make everybody feel good, and so we'll see what they do. I don't know. So let's go to the next team, the Royals. who their GM decided to spout off at the mouth. That's always good when they spout off at the mouth. He said, I tell you what, you want to come get Walker and Logo, it's going to cost you a ton because we're 38 and 56. I don't know what he's trying to say here. Jump in here, Aaron. What is the GM of the Kansas City Royals trying to tell baseball? That he's an idiot? What is he telling them, Aaron?
He's just trying to hype them up to get as much advantage as he can when teams come calling because starting pitching is going to be the number one demand at this trade deadline. And he's trying to get ahead of the situation because he knows that it's going to be the number one demand from the contenders. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, if he doesn't want, he wants to sit on that team. I think there's going to be a really mad shortstop, Andrew. It's going to be a mad shortstop not trying to go out and get him some help. Andrew, what do you think about the GM in Kansas City pounding his chest and telling baseball how great Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo are?
He's rage baiting the rest of Major League Baseball. He's an idiot. I think I put out a tweet where I think I reposted it and said rage bait. Um, he's an idiot. I mean, I understand with the Bobby Witt thing, but maybe you can get some really good pitching prospects that are young and exciting. Maybe we got some guys in who are with some young arms who would I wouldn't mind giving them for Seth Lugo or Michael Wacha, but yeah, just a bunch of rage bait from the GM. He's just an idiot. But get your young shortstop some help. He's a top 4 player in baseball. Get him some help and do better.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan. What's your thoughts on the Kansas City Royals pounding their chest today?
Minus 75 run differential, as you guys can see. They're 38 and 56. That's a 404 winning percentage. I don't know what you're pounding your chest about there, bud, but you shouldn't. You're the worst team in the American League. Like, there's nothing to be pounding your chest about, and you should be open to all trades. But like Miss Erin said, they are just trying to drive up the price. This is the one dude they'll get something back for. Michael Wacha has been good. I want Michael Wacha. I mean, there's a lot of starting pitchers I want, but I think if you can get one of Joe Ryan's a long shot, but if you can get a Sonny Gray, a Michael Wacha, or a combination of both of them, I think that it would solve a lot of our problems. But there's just no way the Royals are going to stand pat. Like they would piss Bobby Witt off to no end. They'd piss off Salvador Perez to no end. Like, this team's not good. They're not good. Like, there's no way that you can go at the deadline and be okay with holding on to these guys when they didn't get you anywhere this year. They're not going to get you anywhere next year. So what's the point of hanging on to them when the market is sky high for starting pitching? So it's just the gameplay for them. They're just playing the game, and we'll see. If they don't do anything at the deadline, that GM should be fired on the spot. There's no reason that they should be stand pat at the deadline. Period. The end.
The biggest thing that's going to happen to them, if they don't do anything here at this deadline to get better, there's not a chance in the world Jock Caglianone's going to re-sign with them. Not a chance. He's be gone. You just tell Jock Caglianone, play your contract out. You might as well go ahead and trade him right now anyhow, because he's not going to re-sign. All right, next team, it's in a free fall. We were pulling for them tonight, and they couldn't score a run against Jesus Luzardo. Cincinnati Reds, they're 3-7. They're now 16 games out of the Central. They're becoming one of the worst teams in the National League. They are putting out hints, and the good thing about it is nobody's mentioned them in the national media. So that's good for us because that tends to be Alex kind of stuff. Aaron, what do you think about the Cincinnati Reds? Lots of nice little pieces up there we can go get right with. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to follow them and look into it for AA. And I hope that he does. I do think that they will definitely be one of the first sellers. I mean, the National League is very different from the American League. You kind of know whether you're in or out by the All-Star break. I mean, obviously things can change in those weeks coming, but when they're as far back as they are, like, now's the time for them to start making decisions for the future. So I think that it should definitely be something the Braves look into.
Yeah, I agree. And Andrew, they're 9 games out of the last wild card spot. 5 games ahead of the Colorado Rockies. I'll let you know where the Reds are at right now. Andrew, lots of nice pieces. You think the Reds will be? I agree with Aaron. Maybe one of the first sellers on the market.
If I'm Alex Anthopoulos, the Cincinnati Reds are a team I'm all over because they have players that meet our needs at every aspect of our team, whether starting pitching, left-handed and right-handed hitting, and then a nice bullpen piece if you wanted to go that route. I was just at the Cincinnati game on Friday. That place is dead. The team has no life. The ballpark has no juice. It just got shut out by the Phillies. Just lost a series to them. In a series they probably should have won. Um, they should be one of the first sellers. And if I'm Alex Anthopoulos, I'm already on the phone with their GM, trying to get something done as early as possible to where both sides are ready. And I think the Braves could have a sneaky little early get option with the Cincinnati Reds.
I agree, Ryan. Cincinnati's not too far from Atlanta. Won't be a long drive for one of those players. What about the Reds?
Reds need to sell, and they need a hard sell. Look, you guys have had that core for what, since 21, 22 ish. We're in 2026. Y'all have they haven't figured it out yet. Well, 23. That's when Ellie came up. Was 23. So y'all have had this window of 3 years to really try to push and get better. You made your step last year getting into the postseason. This was the year that y'all should have taken that next step and really started getting deep into the postseason. Y'all haven't done that. You've actually regressed. So I don't see that this young core is going to do you any good. But you got pieces that you could sell to get a lot of prospects back, to see if you can create another young core for that run. And there's 2 guys I would be interested in. Now, one of them's not going to jump off the page per se, and that one would be Nick Lodolo. He has not been great. His underlying metrics aren't good, but he is a sinker guy. And we know that there is a pitching guru in Atlanta who loves guys who throw sinkers, and he's a lefty that kind of throws a little sidearm. Chris Sale might be able to help him out. I think you could buy low on Lodolo here, and you might win big. And at the very least, you're at least getting a serviceable lefty that could come out, and you won't have to see Bryce Elder if Bryce Elder does not figure it out, in my opinion. The other one, Ken, we've talked about a lot. We want this guy pretty badly, Mr. Spencer Steer. I would like this guy roaming around left field for me, or DH, at whatever you need done. He can play second base, he can play first base, he can play a little bit of outfield. His savant page isn't beautiful, and I don't like that rolling ex-Woba going all the way down, but he would provide a nice steady little bat in left field, provides a 742 OPS, which is better than a lot of options that we have currently right now. So I would be interested in him and Lodolo, in my opinion. And if they really want to sell Andrew Abbott, I'd be interested in as well. What you think, Ken?
2 left-handed pitchers, and I think Spencer Steer fixes a ton of our issues. He can go anywhere on the field too, by the way. All right, let's go to the last rumor to come out today. Corey Seager. All right, so they're linking Corey back to the Braves and linking he may want to be traded. Everybody always says he does have a no trade clause, and the Braves are listed, but that just means they have to go to him and say, this is the only deal we got, and you have to approve it. Aaron, before we get to Ryan's thoughts on Corey Seager, you make anything of it that the Rangers might move on from Corey Seager?
It feels like the off season all over again. We've got Corey Seager rumors and Sonny Gray rumors. And you know what? If they do decide to move him, I would love for the Braves to go after him. I'd like to have a everyday shortstop that is there for longer than a year. That would be wonderful. Obviously, Jim Jarvis is looking good, but I still don't think he's ready to jump into that role full time. And we've got Ha-Sung Kim, who's got a rehab. He may come back and bounce back completely once he rehabs fully, but that's also up in the air. I think if we're chasing a World Series, because the point of the trade deadline is to do what we can to increase our chances in October, then going for Corey Seager is a smart move.
Good Corey Seager fan. Andrew, what are your thoughts on Corey Seager? And I'll propose a question to y'all at the end of this. But Andrew, what are your thoughts on Corey Seager? First of all, you think Texas will actually try to move on from him? And two, do you think he would waive a no trade clause contract to come to Atlanta?
I would love to have Corey Seager. Um, what was your first part of the question?
Do you think Texas will move on from him?
No,
Do you think he
not
will
yet.
waive? Will you think he, if he did, would he waive his no trade clause?
To Atlanta, I think he would, but I don't sell the dream. I think there's maybe a select maybe four teams he'd say yes to. That being maybe the Braves, the Yankees, the Milwaukee Brewers, and maybe one other team. Um,
Yeah,
but
I think he would go to Tampa, but Tampa doesn't need Corey Seager really. So,
right,
but
so
they wouldn't
we'll
want to get
see. I
locked
mean,
in his
it's
contract.
the dream. It's a dream because I'm like everybody else on here. I love Corey Seager. He's one of the only former Dodgers players I could actually respect and enjoyed watching. But I'm not. I just don't see him coming to Atlanta. I'm not sure the Texas Rangers get rid of him. Now, there's a couple other players on that team I think could interest Atlanta, and they'd have more interest of getting rid of. But I don't think Corey Seager's one of them.
Yeah, we'll talk about Jacob DeGrom down the road. Ryan, that would be the guy for me. Ryan, you're a big Corey Seager. First of all, will Texas move on from him? At least think about it. And if they did, would Corey waive his no trade block to Atlanta?
They should think about it. They have a minus 15 run differential. They haven't been a good team since 2023. Even if you make the postseason, look, I know you got DeGrom, but I mean, Evaldi, I'm not sure what you're getting out of him anymore. I just haven't kept up with Evaldi, okay? I don't know what your rest of your rotation looks like. I know your bullpen's not been very good. I mean, your lineup as a whole is not very good. So I don't know what you would expect to get done in October besides just saying, hey, we went to the party, yay. But then in the offseason go, okay, we're going to sell everybody. You know, I think you should sell. I'm telling everybody, you need to sell. But Seager's going to fetch you good. I mean, Corey Seager's going to be a future Hall of Famer. Like, he is a dude that you put in the lineup that game changes everything. And look, he might have some ugly statistical numbers, but just peep the savant. The savant looks kind of cute. Like, not sexy, not like, oh my God, he's a god, but kind of cute, right? The average exit velo is still there, barrel's still there, hard hit percentage is still there, the walk rate's still there, so he takes his walks. His outs above average at shortstop are in the red. I'm just saying, if he's not, concussed playing the game of baseball, even he's still a pretty good baseball player when concussed. He's probably going to be an elite player again. Like, he's been good. Now, again, I get the injury question marks, but there's one dude that I would unload a good bit of my farm system for because that dude's a game changer in the lineup. That dude immediately probably makes us a favorite to win the National League because we added Corey Seager. And I'm not saying we don't need pitching. We definitely need pitching, but you insert him behind Ronald in the lineup in front of Matt Olson or behind Matt Olson, I'm just saying that's a game-changing dude in the middle of the lineup that we desperately need to get some offense from. So, and it solves your shortstop position. If Riley doesn't figure it out, you can move him to third base and figure out what you want to do with Riley later on. To me, this is a bat that I don't see. I see him aging very well. Now, I don't know about defense, but I think he's going to be a stick that he'll be Chipper Jones. He's going to hit until the day he retires. That dude can just flat out hit. So, you know me. I've been saying it since the offseason. I want him. I'd give up a lot for him. So, that's my take.
I will say this: he's going to have to play defense for Alex, and the one number that jumped out on me was Corey still has good range, so that's a good sign. So we'll see. Here's the hypothetical. We like to do hypothetical. Here's our biggest hypothetical. So, and I don't want to hear that it won't be happening, okay? Because this is all hypothetical anyhow. We already know he's got a block on the Braves, so we're doing Corey. So the Rangers come to him and say, "Look, we don't really want to move off a championship window here." And they got some guy in their system. We'll start with you, Aaron. And they say, we'll do it, but we have to have Austin Riley back so our fans don't think we're punting on the thing. Right, Aaron, would you give up Austin Riley in a deal to get Corey Seager back?
I mean, numbers wise, yes, but franchise core fan morale, that's a tough one for me. I know that currently people don't, they're not happy with him, but it's not going to stay that way. And I feel like that kind of big of a shakeup when we're already like, or have been, the majority of the season really synergizing and meshing really well, no matter how Austin is playing. I don't want to risk that. I don't want to risk a clubhouse blow up debacle to do that for yeah. I'm passing on that.
I will say Corey's probably a really good teammate from what you hear. I don't know if he would. It'd be interesting to see how the team would take it because it would be breaking up the core. Andrew, would you include Austin if the Rangers said that's the only way you get Corey Seager?
Um, I don't think so.
Okay.
And it's exactly I was going to say exactly what Aaron said. Kind of shakes up our own clubhouse. I'm sure Corey's a great teammate and a great guy and would fit in really great here, but I'm not sure you want to break up the core that Austin and another have lose another one from your world championship roster from 2021 and especially piss off a lot of fans including myself.
Interesting. Ryan, would you include your favorite player in a deal to get Corey Seager?
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. I love Austin Riley, but to go in this long of a slump where you've been massively underproductive, we're not even talking about, just some bad at bats, 220, you're still hitting some homers. We're talking about no power, minimal walks. It's affecting your defense a little bit. I just and everybody in the Atlanta organization, I guarantee you, has talked to this dude about what he needs to fix, and he just now started listening to Chipper about an approach, which they're now trying to fix his mechanical flaws that has been caused by him trying to pull everything. So he's a hard-headed dude. I don't think there's a question about it. Austin Riley is a hard-headed MFer and was very stubborn and didn't want to change anything, and that's a problem for me, especially when it's a noticeable problem for a long period of time. So I would love Austin Riley to show that he is the player that I think he can be, but I know Corey Seager is going to be the player that he's been in the past. He always has bounced back. Austin Riley's going probably through his first real struggle since he came up as a rookie, and he probably hasn't struggled very much his entire career, and he doesn't know how to handle that well. Can he bounce out of that? I don't know. I don't know anymore. Austin has made me question that. It's been 2 years of mediocrity, and then this year it's been very subpar for performance. So I don't know if Austin Riley is who I think he is anymore. And if I can get Corey Seager, who I know is going to be a good dude in the clubhouse, who I know is going to play shortstop for a couple more years, and I can move him to third base and fill that hole while we have either, if one of the two that we keep would be Tate or he'll come in to play shortstop, be perfectly okay with that, Ken.
I'm not sure I would do it. I understand Ryan's point and I respect it, but once a player starts getting a lot of injuries around those parts of him, we'll see. I'm rooting for Corey, though I do think it'd be funny if he did come to Atlanta and were the number 5. That would make me laugh. So we'll get off of that. That's his number, and that would mean we'd have to move on from Freddie, not having somebody
Fine
wear
with
number
that.
4. Yeah, everybody'd be fine with that. So, all right. The other thing that's happening is we had teams getting into it and back to it. We got to get moving here. We did talk about 2 of those teams. The Boston's kind of getting back into it, and the team that's falling out of it we were talking about is the Reds. Let's go ahead and look at 2 other teams like that on both spectrums. So in the American League, we already talked about Minnesota getting back into the Detroit Tigers are the hottest team in baseball since like June 18th. They're getting back in it, and the team that's falling out of it is the Athletics, the West Coast Athletic, wherever you want to call them from. So, Aaron, you think Detroit now becomes which I think is going to be the worst thing for them, buyer, and they don't move on Tariq Skubal and go for it. And now do the Athletics open up their team as far as trades?
Yeah, I could see Detroit doing the same thing that they did last year around this time where they completely turn it around, have an amazing winning streak, and get themselves back into the postseason by the skin of their teeth. And if they do that, that is going to hurt this market so much because I feel like so many teams are depending on and predicting that they're going to be sellers, that they're going to try to move Scooble, obviously. But then Casey Mize is in play and some other players. So if they somehow pull off what they did last year, that was them last year, right? That did that.
Yeah, is
Okay.
Detroit.
Okay. I doubted myself for a second, but yeah, if they do that, it's going to put a huge wrench in the market. Good for them, but like not good for the rest of the MLB because we are all counting on them to move some pieces, and everybody who is a contender needs some form of pitching.
I agree. I think it's going to be very interesting here with the teams. Andrew, you want to take the A's? They're a free fall right now. They don't have a lot of stuff they can move because they are a young team, but they do have Severino, who will definitely probably enter the starting pitching market. You have any interest in Severino to the Braves?
I wouldn't mind him. I mean, I know the guy, he's a gamer when he goes out there. He gives it his all. Sometimes he just doesn't know where it's going. But I mean, especially I like where the A's are in terms of starting to become sellers. Um, but I just don't know if Severino's going to attract Alex Anthopoulos very much. But I will talk. I know you mentioned the A's, but kind of want to speak on that Tigers part. If the Tigers manage to get into the playoffs, they are the one team, in my opinion, that could beat the New York Yankees just because of their starting pitching. Their three starting pitchers could go out and beat them and start the series 3-0. And they could beat anybody because of that starting pitching if they're on. And if the Tigers keep playing the way they are, I see them buying. Because to do a last second Scooble, please do anything for us. We're trying to win around you. Can you show us some love? But we'll see.
The interesting thing about the Tigers, Ryan, is the reason why they may go for it is because they got McGonagall this year and their offense is a little bit better. So the Tigers are going to be buyers here. I think that's going to, like Aaron's point, it's going to really make that starting pitching market crazy. And the A's really don't have anything to sell except Severino. So what are your thoughts on those two teams?
Man, let's start with Detroit. I was looking at their roster and look, starting pitching wise, it's good. Bullpen's very questionable. Kenley Jansen's been not very good. The back end of the bullpen. Finnegan's been fine. I think they have a couple other arms, but you need more than three arms in the bullpen to really make a good postseason run, in my opinion. You got your three horses in the front, right? That's what you need in the postseason, which is fine. But then you look at the lineup. Their lineup's not very good. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. I'm sitting here. McGonagall's been really good. Veerling's severely underperformed. Torkelson's not been good. Riley Green, very good. And then Dingler's been very good, but that's it. Like they don't have anybody else. They're just like if you could combine the A's and the A's offense with the Tigers pitching, I think you have something there. But for the Tigers, man, you can't lose on a generational talent. You got to get something back for Scooble. He's not coming back to Detroit. That's why you signed Framber. You got to get something that's going to help your big league team in the future. You got to get some prospects back for that because I'm not banking on your offense being able to go into October because you got to look at can we get past the Dodgers if we make it to the World Series? The answer is no. You can't get past the Brewers if the Brewers make it to the World Series. You can't get past us if you make it to the World Series. I mean, right now, I would take the Braves as put together as we are because I think our pitching could shut out their offense. And we did that in a three-game set. We won 2 out of 3 from them. So I'm Detroit needs to sell at least Scooble, in my opinion. And the A's, besides Severino, I really don't think they have anything else to sell. I wouldn't sell a piece off of that offense because they have a ridiculously good offense. They just need pitching. So maybe you try to sell an offensive piece. If you have it, that's almost time to go, and you go out and you try to get some pitching to come in. But I don't know. If you have any, you can sell Severino. I don't know what he's been doing this year, so I don't know. I think A's are probably the one team that might stand pat.
Could be. The fact that the starting pitching market may get slim, Jeffrey Springs may go also, the left-hander. So that's where you may look. All right, so one thing that's happened this week that Braves did not need to happen, and that's that Woodruff got hurt again in Milwaukee. So Milwaukee's going to be probably in the starting pitching market with the rest of everybody else. Aaron, this starting pitching market's going to be slim. Do you still expect AA to go be able to find a starting pitcher?
My realistic expectation is for him to somehow scrounge up a middle of the rotation guy. I think at this point, obviously this can all change within days and weeks, but at this point in time, the way that the market is, we would be lucky to get a middle of the rotation guy that can eat innings, We're not going to be getting that number two behind sale guy unless AA can like work really hard with these teams and try to work something out, but that's going to involve a lot of prospects. So I don't know if he's going to go for that. And he's always looking for, to me, his core stuff is not giving up a ton of prospects. What does the player's contract look like? He's always leaning towards team friendly deals. He's not going to do big deals for expensive rentals. So, Joe Ryan has probably the most sought after pitching contract for trade purposes. And that's going to, like Ryan said, it's going to be a really hard shot to go after him. But back to the Tigers, if they somehow work their way up, then does that not push the teams that they're jumping in front of more into seller mode, like the Twins, or those other teams that are close to the top there, close to the wild card bridge?
Maybe. The fact of the matter is, I don't think the White Sox would sell in a heartbeat. I think they're way ahead of schedule, and I think they're going to try to keep their core. And they don't really have a lot there, I think, to get away from. Cleveland is a difficult sell as well if they were to file out of it. You really the only team I can see if they were to slump and maybe go into seller mode would be Joe Ryan going from the Twins. So before we get to the rest of them here, who is the real person? We'll have to do one right here this week. We're not getting close enough. Who's the one real person out there in reality, Aaron, you think can be an Atlanta Brave?
The most realistic? Are we picking just a starting pitcher or anyone?
Anything you want. And
Oh,
don't
it's
say
tough.
Jorge Soler because he used to play here. Everybody else wants to go some player like that. Pick somebody. If you want to pick Jorge, that's fine. You can pick any of the
No, I
former
love
Braves.
Jorge. I'd love a reunion with Jorge, but no. I am leaning towards the Angels, though. I think Reed Detmers could easily get moved here.
Yeah, I do too. So, Andrew, first of all, the Brandon getting hurt throws the Brewers in. You think Alex will get a pitcher? And then what's your most realistic guy sitting in baseball right now you think can be an Atlanta Brave? Let's go ahead and beat everybody to it, and we'll replay this here, Andrew, and you'll look like a genius this far ahead of the trade deadline.
Um, First part of the question was, say that one more time.
Woodruff, starting pitching mark,
Woodruff.
Milwaukee now.
I do still think Atlanta. I still do think Alex is going to get a starting pitcher of some sort. I know Milwaukee's got the number one farm system in baseball, which will make it tough. But I think Alex will be able to get somebody, whether it's a middle of the road guy or if the deal lines up and he feels like it's a good deal, then I think he'll go for it. The most realistic player I could see option coming here. We actually didn't mention this team. I'm going to go out on a limb, say Trevor Rogers from the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh,
The
well, too. So,
Orioles are
yeah.
Baltimore's starting to fall out a little bit. I just looked at the standings about 5 minutes ago. Baltimore's kind of falling out. Trevor Rogers is pitching a little bit better right now, and I think the Orioles could be a team to look at too.
Yep, could be. That's what you got to do. You got to look where, and I gave you the quote from Walt in a little bit. So Ryan, Woodruff's out, Milwaukee's in. It's going to be hard to get a starting pitcher. Do you think Alex will find some way to add a starting pitcher? And two, who's your most realistic player, position player or pitcher, could be anybody, you think will be in Atlanta Braves?
Yes, AA does add a starting pitcher. I don't think there's. Look, I mean, you're talking. You can get Detmer, Soriano, Waka, Lugo, Lodolo. You got Bradish. Maybe you can peel away Trevor Rogers. Like there's some. There, Sonny Gray's out there. There's starting pitchers out there. There are pitchers out there. Not everybody's going to keep everybody. There's going to be movement. I have no question about that. AA's adding Michael Waka at the deadline. That's one of the ones he's going to get. He's going to get two, but he's going to get Michael Waka at the deadline. That is one I've been saying this for a long time. Me and Ken, I brought this up to Ken probably back in like May, June. I feel like Walker is going to be one of the guys that we add to the deadline. That just feels like an AA-ish move. I don't think it's going to cost them a whole lot in prospects, and they can get money off their books. They can get a young Alex Lodis, go play for the Kansas City Royals. We get Michael Walker, Ken. That's my prediction.
Glad you brought up Alex because I think Alex has given Lodis has given Alex Anthopoulos the guy that can bring us back somebody. He's red hot. He had his 18th home run this week, and I think he's going to bring somebody. I do think it does cloud the starting pitching market, but I think we're going to add. And my most realistic, I'm going to go ahead and give you the three I think we're going to get. I think Michael Walker is going to come here. I think Reed Detmers is coming here. I think we're going to add two starting pitchers, and I think Spencer Steer will be Atlanta Brave sooner than later. And I think that we will fix our team and be ready to roll. Now, we may add some sort of weird bullpen piece, like a Sam Moll, who threw the ball well today against Philadelphia. He struck out Schwarber in a big situation. They had to look good. Or it could be somebody like that. But I think that's going to be what we do. So that is, and here's the quote from Walt Weiss on 680 The Fan. Kelly Quarles asked him, do you ever get involved in transactions and what's going on? I told this to Ryan today. It was like all of us woke our eyes up. He said, I talk to Alex every day about how to make the ball club better. And then he paused and said a weird thing. There was no segue. He said, you know how Alex is. When he goes into stealth mode, he usually comes out with a ball player. And we haven't really heard from Alex in a couple of days. And I went, what? Walt, are you giving us some leeway? What's fixing to go on here? And we'll see. Now, Spencer Steer got hit in the elbow tonight, so hopefully he's okay with a fastball up and in. So that's what we got. We're going to get out of here. Next week, Thursday, we'll come out of the All-Star. Maybe we'll find some stuff out. Erin, what do you got coming up over the All-Star break on Chop House Tea?
Well, I have been on a little bit of a hiatus with Chop House Tea since I'm doing my day job stuff right now. I'm at a conference in Atlanta, but I'm gonna be filming tonight while I have some time. I got some batch stuff coming up, a little bit about the team presently, and then I'm gonna start digging into trade stuff and rumors. And I'm also gonna do a little feature on the draft coming up on Saturday to give Braves fans everything that they need to know about what's gonna be happening on the draft.
Atlanta highlights. You've been giving them Braves heck on there. So what you
Oh,
got going on coming up over there?
we're working on some little trade deadline stuff. If you've listened to the last few episodes, everybody knows I'm slammed right here with the FIFA World Cup here in Atlanta. So I've been able to do as much as I want, but that's ending in Atlanta next week. So I'll be doing some trade deadline stuff, I want to get some draft stuff, maybe later tonight, maybe tomorrow morning put together. Um, Kind of got some things. A lot of questions keep coming my way. Who are we gonna give up? Who are we looking at? Which teams are should I be paying attention to for X player? And gonna start getting back to y'all on those because but yeah, that's what we're doing over on Hotlanta. We're doing some cool little collabs over there, but that's what we're doing over there.
Sounds good. All right, Ryan. Braves Hip Cole, and you want to tell them what you got coming out this weekend?
All right, so this weekend we got obviously you got the hitters meeting coming out. So if you haven't done that, check that out. You can do that here at Hardcore Braves or at Braves Hip Cool. I'd appreciate that over there. We are diving into Jim Jarvis's adjustment that he made today with Tim Hires. That'll be out tomorrow. I'm going to try to make that video tomorrow afternoon just because it's late right now and I can't get to it tonight. So I'm going to try to do that tomorrow for you guys. Should be out tomorrow late, or probably I might push it out Saturday morning. I am doing my exit velo stuff from where I'm at now, 88, trying to get to 95 off of a tee. I am going to start filming the workouts, filming my hitting, and all that coming up soon too. Just been busy. Life happens. So it's going to be coming out soon. And that's what I got here at Braves Hip Cool. May do some stuff for the draft. I may break down the guys that we get if we get hitters. I may do that too.
I think that's going to be a good thing. So the coach's corner, that's what we're going to do. Come Monday, we get 4 days off. I'm going to address the draft then, and hopefully all of us will have something to give you by Monday on the Gwinnett Stripers. We're all going to the Gwinnett Stripers. Andrew's got to do stuff in town, but we get to see AJ Smith-Shawver, and maybe we can get Erin over there to interview him in between games. That would be great. So we love you, Braves Country. We're getting out of here, and who knows, Spencer Steer might be an Atlanta Brave by the time we get the Texas Rangers in here. That'd be nice. So just kidding. All right, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
You know what, boys? You guys are going to be world champions for the rest of your life.